I have spent the last week doing it again. I have refactored all my code. It's been a bit of a weird one actually because I've spent most of the time redoing stuff that I've already done. So it's been a bit non-progressive, which I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I suppose it's a good thing in the grand scheme of things because at least it will run well and it will run as it's supposed to. But I don't know. Anyway, I thought I'd show you where things are at, and then I'll show you the game as well to have a little look. So the main thing I've been focusing on this week is reworking the enemy state machine. So again, hierarchical state machine using a lot of inheritance. We've got the various states. So we've got spawn state, idle state, stalk state, attack state, blah blah blah. And actually, just for a note on this, to prove how simple this is, what I can now do is so the spawn state and the death state are quite simple, how the enemy spawned and how the enemy dies. They took 2 minutes to make and to set up. Yeah, really straightforward. So that was good. We've got our basic components again, so nice useful stuff. Stats, I've reworked the stats as well. So the stats are now linked in to the state machine, sort of, but not really. We've got all our check stuff, which is just where the player is. We've got some velocity things. We've got this start position thing, which I'm working on at the moment. So when I set active, deactivate the player, they'll return to where they should be, which we've got here, but it's not quite working as I wanted to yet. Need to have a think about how I want to spawn things in and out so as to not create vast amounts of garbage. And then, yeah, all the set stuff again as before, the check stuff, which is just checking the player, the combat function. So this is quite fun, so that the states can change at any point. Mostly that, so at any point, no matter what state, the take damage functions can always be called, and the hurting the player function and the death function. And all they do is call the state, so it calls death, and that calls the enemy death state, which is good. And then we've got our animation stuff, which is cool because so on certain animations, for instance the hound's attack, the hound has a specific thing, and rather than it being based on, because all the animator's doing is running balls, I use the trigger functions, really clever, to show at the end of the animation, and then we've just got that. So this is what it looks like, and then all of our, so to show you an example of the enemy attack state, I'm really pleased with this. This was a bit of ingenuity. There's a lot of stuff here that can actually be taken out, but what we've got is, this is my attack script, and I'll build it as we go. At the moment, the random attack selector only has the single attack, but what's really cool is that a lot of the attacks are going to work on the basis of how this moves. So the charge attack is, as it attacks, it moves towards the player. Well, how many enemy attacks are like that? Loads, right? So all of the, you think about bats, yeah, they're floating around, but when they attack, they're still going to move towards the player. So it can always use that, and then there'll be a melee attack one, which is close range, and a more distant one. So it'll be able to have random attack selectors, but equally can limit the player. My brain just switched off. Yeah, limit the enemy selection. So this particular enemy only has the one attack, so it's only selecting 2. It's not really random, is it? But that is how it works. I'm pleased with that. And then you look at something like the stalk state, it's just this. Whereas the something like the player recovery state, which is the new state, is literally, is the animation finished? Yes. And if it's armed, you go back to armed idle, and if it's not, you go to unarmed idle. These are really straightforward. So I thought we'd also take a look at the game as well. So we're all set up. So let's have a look and grab my controller. And if I push play, it should maximize, and we go It didn't. Bugger. Here we go. So we've got this little, yeah, cool. So as you see, we've got these enemies, and they attack me. And I'm really pleased because if you notice, I was having an issue where I was sort of bouncing against the wall. I was getting stuck against the wall when it attacked me. But now I've added a little bit of a bouncy wall effect. So when they hit me, I bounce. And if I kill them, we get a fun little effect. It's kind of cool as well. I can do that, which is hours of fun. So at a certain thing, they stalk after me. They get to a certain level, they stop, and then poof. Yeah. So at the moment, I'm one-hitting them, but as soon as I've got 100 experience, which is after killing the first 10, I level up to level 1. And at level 1, oh, that one came at me. As soon as I'm at level 1, the stats change. I have less health. Here we are, I'm now at level 1. It takes more hits to attack the nasty bastard. And oh shit, see, I can't do anything through it, but I can, if I roll, I can still ignore it beating the shit out of me now. So you can imagine the I mean, these are just right at the beginning of the game. That's cool, isn't it? You can imagine that if the new player was doing this, it'd be quite good for them to. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm getting too distracted by being killed by wolves. Oh, new little thing there to sort. So yeah, someone's just starting the game. Oh, hello. They're going to have a little bit of an issue. So if they're attacking too fast, so you need to make it so that they're not going to die too soon. Something interesting happening on the bottom of my ladders. Need to have a look at that. What's that? Oh, it's just. I think it's just because the controller's being a bit temperamental. If I go down. Interesting. I need to adjust that. Should be doing that. So yeah, so this is where we're at, and then I've still got my little village where I need to put stuff in. Currently I can't interact with a little stone called Jim because I can't. Because I can't really. That was interesting as well. What's happening here? Something else to fix. That was doing something weird there as well. Oh, you know what? It seems to be. It's not fully on the ground, so I can't go left or right. Oh, I can on the controller, on the thing. It's just the Xbox controller. Dodge controller. Who knew? So if I go on here, interesting. So yeah, so what we've got is a bit of refactored enemies, and that's going to drive me nuts if I can't figure out what's wrong with that. A few refactored enemies and some other stuff. Yeah, refactored enemies, a bit of a spawn and death effect, which is kind of cool. And yeah, that's about it for this week. I'm going to be. So my next plan is to create spawn points. As you can see, they're just laying out there. They're all there at once. And I'd like them to spawn as you hit a certain area. The logic that I was using before isn't quite working. So I need to rework that and figure out what's going on with that. But other than that, yeah, just keep plodding along with it. My current aim is probably to complete the logic of the game. So all the sort of systems of the game by the end of the year. Each sprite, each enemy takes about half an hour to make, I suppose, to an hour. Maybe 2 hours on some of the more complicated ones. So I've got at least another 3 or 4 weeks worth of enemy creation, allowing for some of the more difficult elements. As far as scripting for enemies goes, not a lot left to do. Need to sort out ranged attack, need to sort out close range attacks, but other than that, it should be pretty straightforward, unless there's some weird teleporting attacks as well. I'll do some teleports. And after that, I suppose it's then doing things like chests, making chests work, making constellations work, a couple of collectibles, making the menu systems work, adding in some features, things like a leveling up, health bars, etc. That's all stuff that I need to still work on, but my plan is to get the vast majority of that done in the next 2 months, and then spend the first couple of months of 2021 reworking all of it, make sure it's all clean and straightforward, it's not buggy as hell, to sort of release it, I think maybe March time, so 5 months from now. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm starting to get a bit twitchy with this scene and this sort of, just plodding along nature. So I'm glad to have refactored everything so that it now works, because then I can move on to new stuff. And when you've moved on to new stuff, it gets exciting again. I think it won't be long before I put music in these scenes, just so I've got something to listen to while I'm playing, really. Start putting some sound in there. I mean, I probably should wait, but actually I'm just bored of the plodding alongness. So yeah, I still got a few things to sort. I mean, enemy wise, I'm quite happy. I just need to sort their spawning and despawning out. Checkpoints will be next. So when you activate a checkpoint, a bit like Dark Souls, I want all the enemies to spawn again, which is good. That will be the next thing, but I think that's quite straightforward. You just sort of reset all of the points. And actually, while I'm talking to you now, I think I've figured out how I want to do that. And then after that, I need to build some, I don't know, I just need to sort of keep pushing forward, really. I want to rework the menu system so it works. Maybe build a second level, because then I can place some chests and constellations, get all that stuff doing what I need it to do. But yeah, hopefully in the next week we'll see quite a bit more content, and you won't have to just look at the same stuff again and again. But I like my bouncy walls. My bouncy walls are fun, so woo! So thanks for tuning in if you bothered, and if you didn't, no thanks to you. Have a nice evening, and yeah, I hurt my tooth.